Hello everyone, I am Dr. Suman Pawar, working as an assistant professor in Department of Zoology at Dada Patel Mahavidyalaya Karjat, District Ahmednagar. Friends, this video is for educational purpose only. No copyright infringement. This copyright belongs to its rightful owner. Credit goes to the respective image and the content providers. Today, we are dealing with the exoskeleton in Calotes versicolor, which is included in the syllabus of paper 1st from semester 3rd of TY BSc Zoology, Animal Systematics and Diversity 5th. The exoskeleton in Calotes versicolor. What is exoskeleton? An exoskeleton is the external skeletal covering which externally supports and protects the body of an animal. The different exoskeletal elements which are present in Calotes versicolor are the scales and the claws. First of all, we will discuss scales. The entire body of Calotes versicolor is covered by the horny epidermal overlapping keeled scales. And because of these scales, the body of the Calotes becomes coarse, that is, it appears rough. The scales present on the body of Calotes are of different types and they also show variations in their shape and size. The scales are epidermal in origin and they are arranged in an imbricate fashion. Imbricate fashion, that is, their uniform arrangement by overlapping each other in regular rows over the entire body surface. The scales develop from the stratum germinativum of the epidermal layer. Each scale is a plate-like structure which is internally supported by a bony plate called ossicle or osteoderm. All these osteoderms, they are tied or they are bound together into the dermis by the specialized fibers which we call Sharpie's fibers. The scaly cover in Calotes is periodically shed off as it gets removed by a process called ecdysis and which is replaced by the new scales or the new skeletal elements. The scales provide an impermeable covering to prevent the water loss from the outer body surface of the Calotes. The body scales which are present in Calotes, they show a great taxonomical importance as the precursors of the class Reptilia, that is amphibia. They are without exoskeletal elements. Now, let us see the types of scales which are present in Calotes versicolor. The first type, that is typical scale. These typical scales found on the trunk region. A single typical scale has thin rhomboidal plate which is formed from the cornified epidermis. These typical scales are fixed in the skin anterolaterally, whereas the skin portion extends in posterolateral margin of the scale. Here is the structure of a typical scale. More or less rhomboidal plate which internally shows the carina which continues externally as the spine, and below the spine there is a provision of the chitinous setae. The second type, that is denticulate scale. In this type of scale, if the carinate spine is small, then it termed as the denticulate scale. These scales, they appear on the trunk region. The third type, that is mucronate scale. If the carinate spine is large and rather stiff, then the scale is called micronate scale, which are more in number and present on the trunk region. The fourth type of scale is the spinoscale, and which is rather distinct one. If the major free portion of the scale is occupied by a elongated spine, then such a scale is called spinoscale. These scales occur on the nuchal crest located along the mid-dorsal body line of the calotes. The fifth type of scale is pentagonal scale. By the name, it is pentagonal in shape and it is present on the parietal region of the head of calotes. The sixth type, that is nasal scale. The nasal scales are conical or somewhat oval in shape and they occur around the nasal region. Each nasal scale carries a submarginal row of the chitinous setae. Here is the structure of the oval nasal scale, which shows a regular arrangement of the chitinous setae on its inner side, and it is the nasal opening, and associated with the nasal opening there is a location of the nasal scales. The next type, that is labial scale. The labial scales, they are distinctly rectangular in shape and they occur in the lining of the upper and the lower jaw. See here, these are the rectangular labial scales which are associated with the jaw lines in calotes. The next type is superciliary scales. These scales are rather elongated and they are slightly twisted in their structure. Thus, the scales present on the tail of calotes are rhomboidal and denticulate in nature, as well as they become more and more elongated towards the tapering posterior end of the tail of calotes. Here is the elongated superciliary scale, which is also provided with a chitinous setae. Here is the calotes showing the position of different types of scale. See, the nasal scale here, the rectangular labial scale, the pentagonal scales. This is the nuchal crest showing a uniform arrangement of spinoscales. These rhomboidal are the typical scale, and a stiff spine scale, that is the micronate scale. The second exoskeletal element which are present in calotes versicolor are the claws, which are associated with the digits of the forelimb and hind limb. The tip of each digit from the forelimb as well as the hind limb bears or it terminates with the sharp claws. Each claw is made up of two horny plates, the dorsal and the ventral. The dorsal plate is called unguis, which is convex, and it is rounded at tip as well as at its lateral sides, and it is well developed. The ventral plate is called subunguis, which is rather flattened. Both these plates at their termination, they converge at the end to make the tip of the claw rather sharply pointed. The plates are derived from the Malpighian layer of the epidermis. The claws are used for climbing on the bushes or the trees, as well as they are also used for the self-defense by the calotes. Here is the calotis showing its forelimb, and this longer forelimb, its digit with this inwardly bent claw. See here. Body wall of calotis. The body wall is composed of skin, muscles, and the peritoneum. The first element, that is skin. The skin of calotis is highly modified to adapt the animal for its terrestrial mode of life, and that's why it is rather rough, dry, and scaly. It is without the skin glands, except there is a presence of few femoral glands. The skin of calotis is firmly attached with the underlying muscles because there is absence of the lymph sinuses under the skin. The histologically, skin is formed of two layers, the upper epidermis and the underlying dermis. The epidermis is ectodermal in origin, whereas the dermis is mesodermal in origin. Ectodermal in origin means the epidermis is formed of ectodermal cells, whereas the dermal layer is formed of mesodermal cells. The epidermis is thin and its innermost layer is called germinal epithelium. The superficial layer of the epidermis have a considerable deposition of creatine protein, which is insoluble and waterproofing protein. The layer or this layer is gradually cornified and gives rise to the exoskeletal scales, which overlap one another in the posterior direction as they are directed backwardly. The scale shows a mosaic pattern of dead cells which overlap one another, and thus they give a serrated appearance in their vertical section. The scaly covering of the skin is periodically shed off in the form of small bits or flakes. The dermis is formed of loose fibrous connective tissue, which is provided with blood capillaries and nerve fibers. The dermal layer also contains branched pigment cells called melanophores or the chromatophores. These melanophores or the pigment cells are just below the epidermal germinal layer. The fat bodies are also located in the deeper parts of the dermal layer. The muscles which are present in the skin. Below the skin layer, there is a layer of muscle, and this layer is much thicker on the dorsal side of its body. The muscle layer is composed of striated muscle fibers, and they contains the supporting framework of bones and other endoskeletal elements. The innermost layer, that is the peritoneal layer or the thin peritoneum. The muscle layer is internally covered by peritoneum, which is a epithelial layer or a thin layer of closely fitted cells. Here is the views of skin of calotis. See the serrated appearance of the scale. Here is the epidermal layer. The underlying layer of the epidermis, that is the germinal epithelium. This is thick dermis or the dermal layer, which is provided with the melanophores, blood capillaries, nerve endings, supporting cells, connective tissues, as well as the fat bodies. And below the dermal layer, there is the muscular layer, and at this position there is the peritoneal layer. Functions of skin. The skin of calotes is highly modified to adjust the animal for its terrestrial mode of living. The epidermis becomes greatly elaborated than the dermis to function as a safeguard for the animal against the frictional contact with the dry land or dry ground, as well as to prevent the desiccation of the skin in the dry air. The melanophores or the pigment cells, by their camouflage, helps the calotes to protect itself from its enemy, as well as to adjust itself with its changing environment. Thus, in this video or through this video, we have discussed the exoskeletal elements which are present in Calotes versicolor. Friends, in case you have any doubt about the content of the video or you have any question about the topic covered through this video, kindly email me on the given address. Thank you. Thank you for your patient listening. Again, I am telling you, this video is for educational purpose only. No copyright infringement. This copyright belongs to its rightful owner. The credit goes to respective image and the content providers. And for more videos, kindly visit our institute's YouTube channel, Rayat Knowledge Bank. Thank you. Thank you very much.